picking it out.
Maybe my most favorite year was the year we beat Alabama and Auburn and had Georgia on the ropes, and we lost 17. I think it was 17 to, or like we lost by 2 points. We kicked a field goal at the end of the game, a chip shot. Our guy hit the crossbar.
Oh
So
man,
we almost beat Alabama, Auburn,
and
and
Georgia.
Georgia in the same year. Now, who can say that?
Not many people.
I, off the top of my head, I don't know if it's been done. And
It may not have been.
so that's you know, we had some pretty good teams back then. They were largely made up of Alabama guys.
All right, what year was that?
87 through 90.
So 90. So Gene Stallings was at Alabama at that time.
Yeah, that was his opening game.
Oh man.
You know, that's an interesting season. So that was my senior year. I started as a true freshman. I didn't redshirt. Had a pretty good year as a true freshman. I was as raw as you could ever get. My dad was my high school football coach, and it's been well documented. We ran the wishbone. You ask any younger generation kid today, you start talking about the wishbone, he'll look at you cross-eyed and like, what is that? But we ran the football, we ran the option, we threw it maybe 2 or 3 times a game, if that. So when I got to Southern Miss and became the starter, we opened the season in 87. I'm 17 years old. We opened in Alabama. Ray Perkins is the coach. They had Derek Thomas rushing off of one end. So you can imagine the atmosphere in that stadium. And I think we played them in Birmingham, I think. And I'm the third string quarterback. And every time I was a backup quarterback, which thankfully wasn't that often, but the few times that it was, I wanted to play. And I mean, this may sound bad, but in a weird kind of way, I pulled for the starting quarterback because I pulled for the team to win. But I also, like, when he got tackled, I would be like, don't get up, because I wanted an opportunity.
Yeah.
That game, I remember vividly thinking to myself, get back up. I'll wait till next week, because they were bringing it, man. I mean, that was like a pro team playing a junior high team. I mean, they were killing us. So I was like, maybe next week. And lo and behold, we played Tulane the following week. First guy struggling. We're down 17-3 at halftime. The second guy, he's struggling. So the head coach looks at me and he said, I was a backup punter, by the way. And the head coach grabs me at halftime and says, get ready, you're going in.
Mm.
So it tells you where my head was at 17. I thought I was going in to punt. I'm like, I'm over there stretching my right leg. Well, I didn't go in to punt. I went in to quarterback, and I had no reps as a starting quarterback. In practice, I didn't get any reps.
God.
And I was taking 9-step drops on pass plays that were 3-step drop plays. I was rolling out when it was a pocket pass. I mean, I was doing everything wrong, and yet I threw 2 touchdowns and we came back and we won, and the rest was history. We played Alabama. We lost 30-something, I think 3 the first game, beat Tulane, and the rest was history. But we beat Alabama and Auburn my senior year after I had a car wreck. And the interesting thing about that story is July 14th, before my senior year, I was in a bad car wreck. I had bad internal injuries. I fractured a vertebrae in my back. And this is July 14th, and we're playing Alabama. I think it was September 8th. And we had a game before that. We were playing like Delta State or something. So July 14th, I had a wreck. I'm in the hospital for 7 days, no surgeries, had a bunch of stitches and bad bruises and stuff like that. And they said, you're free to go after a week. But I felt awful. I couldn't eat, had no appetite. I was 236 the day I had the wreck. I was in the best shape of my life. When I walked out of the hospital, I was about 220. I was home for about 5 days, and then me and my wife, we weren't married at the time. We came up to college. She was taking summer school classes, and I was staying with her in her apartment. Again, I had no appetite. I would try to eat and couldn't get anything down. Well, eventually, I started throwing up. This was July 14th, August 7th. I go back in the hospital, and they run some tests. I mean, within an hour, they said, we got to do emergency surgery, and call my parents in. And it was like bang, bang, bang. They had discovered that 36 inches of my intestines had died.
Yeah.
And it took from the time of the wreck till then for it to kind of materialize, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It was I don't want to say it was undiscoverable in the first week, but as I digressed, my intestines just basically were rotting. So they went in and did emergency surgery, cut my stomach open, pulled out 36 inches of intestines. The doctor took a Polaroid picture of what he took out, and it looked like a boa constrictor that had died a week ago that had been beaten with a bat till it was purple, till it was unrecognizable. That's what it looked like. So he sews me up, and first thing I say to him when I come to was, "Can I play football this year?" And he said, "No, you ain't." He said, "Good thing you got a redshirt year." Our head coach, Curly Hallman, was in the room too. Curly was like, "Hey, don't worry about football. You got to." So when I walked out a week later from the hospital, I was 193 pounds. Really hadn't eaten since July 14th. Mm. And I was hunched over because my back was still in bad shape. And to this day, I can't believe it, but I ended up starting September 8th against Alabama, and was about 38 pounds lighter than when I had the wreck, and went from the best shape of my life to really in no shape at that point. And the great thing about that story is the first play of the game, Gene Stallings. Well, let me back up. So I get a phone call after the surgery, about the third day after in recovery. I'm sitting up in the bed, I'm starting to kind of make a comeback. And my mom or my dad or Deanna, my wife, I can't remember which one, the phone rings in the hospital room. And they say, and I got the flickers for pain medication. I'm in and out. So it's the head coach of Alabama. And I'm like, really? So he gets on the phone. He's like, "Oh, Brett, well, I just want you to know I'm pulling for you. I hope And I said, when we hung up, they said, "Who was it?" I said, "It was Bear Bryant." He sounded just like Bear Bryant. And I was kind of in la-la land. I thank a lot of Stallings to this day for him calling in. But we ended up playing September 8th, the first play of the game. We run a little pass play, and I complete a little hitch out to the flat, and I get hit right in the balls. I mean, and a good hit in the balls will stop you dead in your tracks. I fall down, and I'm doubled over. So our trainer, Doc Harrington, comes running out. He's thinking the stitches or the stomach busted open. Mm-hmm. I knew he shouldn't have. He came back too soon. I mean, what are we thinking putting him in the game? He comes out there. "Oh, my God, what is it?" I said, "I got hit in the balls." And he said, "Oh, good." I go, "Not good. Not good." But we ended up winning the game. I didn't play all that great, but maybe I inspired the players, and the rest is history.